Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous. That's the brand new 2026 Honda Passport, but more specifically, this is a TrailSport trim level. It's even in platinum white pearl, and it looks absolutely fantastic in person. But for the 2026 model year, this brand new 4th generation of Passport, it offers a lot, but it's not perfect. So today, over the next 10 minutes or so, we are going to cover the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything that you need to know if you are considering spending about $50,000 on Honda's new midsize SUV. So if you get anything out of this video, please consider liking it. Comment your thoughts and opinions below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, huge thanks to Larry H. Miller Honda in Boise, Idaho. If you want a fantastic deal below MSRP on one of these or any other vehicle that they have, ask for Clint, reference Automotive Anonymous, and see what they can do for you. But also huge thanks to our channel sponsor, Lasfit, but more on them in just a few minutes. Let's dive right into this review. But if you're new to Honda, or the all-new 4th generation Passport, there's a few things that you should probably know. Honda is a Japanese automaker. They're one of the biggest and actually one of the best automakers globally. They were founded in the 1940s. They started by making motorcycle engines. By the 50s, they were making vehicles. And by the 60s, they were already in the United States and in other global markets. And the Passport, it's had kind of an interesting history. It started in the 90s. It was a project joint with the Isuzu. And then it disappeared for a while. And then it came back for the 3rd generation in 2019. And now for the 2026 model year. It's back, it's bolder than ever, it's more powerful, more aggressive, and it offers a lot that the previous generations simply did not. So it's going to be interesting if this outsells the previous generation, which on average in the United States market only sold about 40,000 units every single year. But hey, at least it's homegrown. These are assembled in Alabama. They are sold also in the Canadian market, and they start at about $45,000 if you are interested in the RTL trim level, which there are 3 of those trim levels. There are 4 trim levels of the TrailSport. This is the cheapest TrailSport that you can buy. So after its paint option of platinum white pearl paint, it does cost about $50,000 before your Larry H. Miller discount. And for $50,000, what do you get? You get a vehicle that is anticipated to be a top safety pick and a 5-star overall crash test rated vehicle. So because this is a unibody and not a body on frame, it actually has really good crumple zones. Just like the Passports of the past, just like the Pilot, just like the Ridgeline, these things have been shown to be very safe in crash tests. Something that I am excited for. But also, even the base model has a lot of standard safety features. So you have really bright LED headlights, blind spot monitoring, turn signals on the mirror, adaptive cruise, and lane keep assist, which actually works really well. In addition to all the parking sensors that you have, which seem to work pretty decently in my experience with these vehicles so far. But beyond that, you also get really nice all-terrain tires, good looking wheels, amber daytime running lights, which look absolutely fantastic in person. But then you have a huge panoramic sunroof, huge roof rails, 2-tone leather seats. They're heated. You also have a leather-wrapped steering wheel. And you have a lot of other features that you'll see throughout this video, including the fact that this might be class leading in the amount of storage it has. It's absolutely huge for a midsize SUV. And overall, these are really easy to drive, easy to park, and I imagine they fit fairly decently in the average garage. But they're also big enough to be stable at highway and interstate speeds. And as you can see here, it even fits pretty decently in this average size parking space. Overall, this vehicle is just under 16 feet long. The wheelbase is about 9.4, so it's pretty planted and stable on the road, especially because these Hondas are 6.5 feet wide, roughly 6.1 feet tall. And then depending on how it's spec'd, because the powertrains are the same, but the options differ quite a bit, they do weigh about 4,500 to 4,700 pounds. It can tow up to 5,000 pounds. So if you get a 2-for-1 deal, you can buy a Passport and tow a Passport behind a Passport. But this, unfortunately, only has a 948-pound payload capacity, which for this big of a vehicle, that's not necessarily less than the competition, but I do feel like it should be a lot more, especially where the Honda Ridgeline has almost 1,500 pounds, and that's a very similar platform to this. But then it has a little bit over 8 inches of ground clearance, a 4/17 final axle ratio, which is pretty aggressive and puts the torque down very nicely. And then it can do a full circle in about 39 feet. The last couple things to mention out here is the gas door is located on the driver's side. And one of the things that I like about these new Hondas is when you lock the vehicle, the gas door locks, so the bums aren't going to be trying to siphon any of your 18.5 gallons of gas. But unfortunately, the Passport TrailSport only gets about 18 around town, 23 on the highway according to the EPA. So your max road trip and range is only a little bit over 400 miles. And then it has a square stance, a 275/60/18, which comes out to be a 31-inch tire. This is a general grabber all-terrain tire with full tread on this specific example, and then it has a donut spare tire in the back. This is also your key. You have lock, unlock, remote start, power liftgate, panic button, but you can't just leave that in your pocket because you do have proximity key features right here to lock and unlock the vehicle. It's time to thank today's sponsor, Lasfit. They are a company that makes really good upgrades for basically any vehicle that you guys might drive. They specialize in two main things: aftermarket LED upgrades to change out the old incandescents and halogens that your car may have on the interior and exterior, but also to upgrade your floor mats to a very affordable option that's actually far superior to the factory optional all-weather mats, or even most other aftermarket companies, to be quite honest. If we look at the factory mats on this Passport, they're thin, they barely have a lip, they don't even cover a whole lot of surface area. But if you look at the Lasfit mats, like what I have on my vehicles, they actually cover way more surface area. You get 20% off with code AA20 through the end of the year, and they cover a lot better than the factory mats to help absorb and to hold drinks and spills in place. You're not gonna have to worry about cleaning up the actual carpet when your drink spills over. So check them out if you want 20% off your order. AA20 good through the rest of the year. Thank you, Lasfit, for sponsoring today's video. I know $50,000 isn't cheap, but the door panels, all the interior materials on this, especially for the initial impressions, they are very nice. They are very fancy. You of course have a few of the cheaper lizard skin plastics at the top, but they're softer than a lot of other cars. I think they're gonna absorb sound waves better, give you better insulation. Then your door card, your armrest, it's leather wrapped, it's very nice. You have a cup holder, memory seats. Honestly guys, this is a really nice vehicle. There's a lot of things to like about the Passport. And even though this is the cheapest one and the only option is this white paint color, this really does a lot of things quite well. I have noticed though that these big Hondas, you can't slide the seat back as far as you can in some other vehicles. And I usually do that for filming. But in general, this thing is awesome. It fires right up. Turn signals on the mirror. Everything comes to life. The horn. It's actually loud. It doesn't sound high-pitched and silly like some other SUVs. And then you have everything that you need, even paddle shifters. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay come in the screen. This one also has the navigation. You have physical HVAC and climate controls, heated seats, which actually get really hot. I can even feel those through my vest I'm wearing today. And then you have good storage. You have all the modes, all the traction control, all the things that you need to play around with. You have your cup holders. And then you have a ton of storage right here. Up top, you have a sunglass holder. You can slide the front half of the glass or use the privacy shade for the whole thing. And then does this have LEDs or incandescents? It has an incandescent, something you can upgrade with Lasfit if you're interested. Otherwise, let's hop out and into the back. The second row of the Passport is where things get really insane. Not only do these doors open up huge and the wind is trying to physically shut it, but look at that bench. Everything looks really nice. You can easily access the anchors for the child safety seats. Unfortunately, these seats don't necessarily recline beyond the factory setting, but they fold down basically flat with the cargo area. You still have a ton of room. And just look at that. These materials are really nice, even for having thick seats. I do have to say those seats are a little bit heavier than some others, but you have bottles, snack pocket, even a cup holder, a speaker, really nice door card materials. Everything follows suit from the front to the back. And at 5'11", I have so much knee room. I have like that much room above my heads. I have vents, I have plugins, I have a household style outlet. I have everything I need. And to show you the width of this vehicle, look at how wide that center armrest seat back is. That's pretty impressive. With that said, let's hop out and I'll show you the hatch. I think the back of this platinum white pearl Honda Passport looks absolutely fantastic. I love that there's no chrome badges. It's just Passport stamped in. You have the TrailSport badge, you have the hitch, you have all of the capacities listed right there, which is pretty cool. And then there is a power liftgate. This is basically best in class for cargo capacity for a mid-sized SUV that's not even 16 feet long. You have about 43 cubic feet back here. When you fold down the seats, you have over 80, which is awesome. Look at all the storage behind the wheel well, above the wheel well. You even have plug-in. You could have a privacy shade, a few other anchor points too. And then you have some extra under the floor storage and a spare tire down here. Pretty cool, all that is offered on the Honda Passport. The passenger side is pretty cool too. You get the painted door handles and the proximity key features. And then again, another bottle and cup pocket, which is pretty cool. This even has power seats on the basic TrailSport trim level, and then some really good storage above the glove box. There's nothing on the transmission tunnel though, but it is locked with the key hidden in the remote, but one of the smaller glove boxes for a mid-size SUV. With that said, let's come around to the front. I'll pop the hood and I'll show you what the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 looks like. Under the hood is a 3.5 liter V6 naturally aspirated engine. It does have direct injection. It does have 24 valves letting air in and out of those cylinder walls. And at 6,100 RPM, it peaks out at 285 horsepower. At 5,000 RPM, it peaks out at about 262 pound-feet of the twisty torque. So you do have to rev it out a little bit, but thankfully when you rev it out, especially over 4,000 RPM, it starts to really sound good, aggressive, and deep. It really makes nice noises, which I like a lot. But it is a front-wheel drive bias system. So even though this has a really good quick shifting 10-speed automatic with paddle shifters and stage 2 or level 2, the second generation of IVTM4, it actually has a really good torque vectoring system, but it is still front-wheel drive biased. So the serpentine belt is down here. And then the downsides to this engine is it does have a timing belt rather than a timing chain. So that is an expensive maintenance item every so often, maybe 100,000 miles or so, but check your owner's manual. And then it does have cylinder deactivation, which Honda does cylinder deactivation better than a lot of other companies, but that could be a failure point down the road. So keep that in mind, do your own research, but honestly, this is a very good powertrain to drive, and I really like this V6 engine a lot, despite all of that. With that said, let's drop the hood and finish up this review. My final thoughts of the Honda Passport is honestly, guys, I like it a lot. I've driven a few of these in the past. I posted those full reviews with driving impressions and 0 to 60s a couple months ago. So check those out if you want to see a little bit more detail on a higher level TrailSport or the base model RTL. But also this video is filmed with a lot of wind outside and I'm using a different microphone today. I'm kind of curious to see how the microphone does to handle the wind. So comment below if this video, you know, if it did okay, if it was ruined by the wind noise, what you thought, because this was kind of a test for me. Also, this video does not have the driving impressions or the 0 to 60. I'm trying to cut it down on time, make this a little bit more short and compact. So those of you who regularly watch my channel, or if you're new here, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this video. Do you like this style more, or do you like the full, longer videos that are probably almost twice as long? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, this Passport is fun to drive. 50 grand ain't cheap though, but honestly, this feels like a very substantial vehicle. This being the cheapest TrailSport you can get, also knowing that Larry H. Miller Honda is going to give you a good discount, I think this is very competitive compared to the competition. I think it looks really good. I think it's very safe. I think it offers a lot of practicality, but also a lot of enjoyment. If nothing else, just from the amber daytime running lights and the orange painted recovery hooks and the LED headlights, this kind of looks pretty stylish, and I have a trouble imagining that this will not age quite well over time. But comment your thoughts and opinions below. If you made it till the end, thank you so much for watching. And again, let me know what you think of this video style and the sound quality in today's video with all the crazy wind that we're having. Otherwise, huge thanks to Lasfit, our sponsor. Check them out. Code AA20 gets you 20% off. Thank you guys. See you later.